No evidence of such a cyber attack.
All right, hello everyone. My apologies for the late start.
Users getting messages like this saying details not available. Those who were able to get into the live stream welcomed by hold music, then silence. X saying more than 1 million people eventually signed on.
I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening.
Musk said he wanted Trump to reach open-minded independent voters, kicking off the conversation by asking Trump about the attempt on his life.
What was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood.
Over 2 hours, the former president drifted into bringing up false claims, insults, and controversial statements. Trump praising his relationships with authoritarian leaders, saying he got along well with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Ooh, man, we got to talk about the interview that's breaking the internet and literally breaking these communist news networks, these propagandists like at ABC, MSNBC, and these other talking heads. They literally can't stand the fact that this interview garnered millions upon millions of views, and it's starting conversations all over the place about all kinds of things. And they want to come and attack them about, oh, well, you know, they had a delay, 40-minute delay. Well, someone attacked their little interview, right? Maybe it was the government. I don't know. Maybe it was someone you guys set up. Who knows? They've been sicking the hound on Donald Trump from day one. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out that, yeah, these guys were actually trying to stop this interview from happening, which they don't want this to happen anyway, at the public town square that is X. That's literally what X is. Elon Musk said it 1 billion times. Why can't we have free speech? Why do you guys want censorship? That's exactly what they wanted. They wanted censorship to stop them from talking about what's going on and happening right now in our government. Let's take a look.
Donald Trump returned to Twitter last night. It's now called X, for a long conversation with Elon Musk that was hampered by technical issues. Rachel Scott is tracking the race. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, George, good morning to you. This all got off to a very rocky start. That conversation was delayed by more than 40 minutes because of those tech issues. Elon Musk said he wanted to have this conversation so that the former president could appeal to independent voters, but Trump fell into a very familiar pattern of controversial statements, insults, and attacks.
Overnight, Donald Trump's bot returned to the platform that once banished him for posting false claims about the election. The company saying at the time the account was permanently suspended due to the risk of further incitement of violence. It was reinstated by Elon Musk in November of 2022 when Musk bought the company. Trump returning to the conversation Monday for a conversation with Musk. Technical issues delaying it from the start for more than 40 minutes. Musk blaming a so-called denial of service attack, a kind of cyber attack that floods a server with traffic to force it offline, saying the massive attack illustrates there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say. Though we provided...
That's totally believable, in my opinion. Totally reasonable for Elon Musk to say that. I wouldn't be surprised if it is true. You know what I'm saying? People don't want these people to get together and talk. They don't want, you know, the powerful people that is Elon Musk and Donald Trump. They don't want them getting together and start mending and melting these ideas and talking about this stuff that needs to be talked about. And just look at the heading right here down below. Trump interviewed by Elon Musk. Former president resorts to controversial statements and false claims in tech-plagued conversation. So they started off with, 40-minute delay, and then Elon Musk lied about, oh no, we're having technical difficulties and we had a cyber attack, and they're already trying to say that he's full of crap. He's BS. And even though these people at ABC are always the ones who are BS, in my opinion, right? You guys probably see the same thing with these people when they say that, oh, well, Kamala's the best pick since sliced bread. She's not DEI hire. Let's continue.
No evidence of such a cyber attack.
All right, hello everyone. My apologies for the late start.
Users getting messages like this saying details not available. Those who were able to get into the live stream welcomed by hold music, then silence. X saying more than 1 million people eventually signed on.
I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening.
Musk said he wanted Trump to reach open-minded independent voters, kicking off the conversation by asking Trump about the attempt on his life.
What was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood.
Over 2 hours, the former president drifted into bringing up false claims, insults, and controversial statements. Trump praising his relationships with authoritarian leaders, saying he got along well with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
And I got along with Kim Jong-un. We had dinner. We had everything. And he really liked me, and I got along with him.
Trump also describing a conversation he had with Putin about invading Ukraine, claiming he told him not to invade. The former president laying out what he would do if reelected, insisting one of his first acts would be shutting down the Department of Education.
This is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great.
The Harris campaign highlighting that clip on social media and responding to the interview saying Trump's entire campaign is in service of people like Elon Musk and himself, self-obsessed rich guys who will sell out the middle class and who cannot run a live stream in the year of 2024. The Harris campaign also accusing Trump of slurring his words. The former president brushing off.
Now, that's kind of a funny statement because Kamala Harris's team were the ones actually reaching out to streamers like Kai Cenat, and he went on live and said in front of the whole world, in front of their whole streamers, that, hey, guys, stop messing with me. Leave me alone. I don't want nothing to do with politics.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't give a fuck. Okay? Listen, I had a bad bitch that I've been trying to get on for like the last 3 years, the last 2 years that I haven't spoke to in like a year. I haven't spoke to this girl in so goddamn long who gonna have the audacity to text me, we need you a part of the campaign. At first I was thinking she was talking about like a game, a video game, like a Modern Warfare game, or some shit. Or if not that, a clothing brand. I'm like, what campaign? Shorty gonna say, we're not gonna get into details. Yo, this is why I can't do shit.
But they continue to ag on the situation because they want to do what Donald Trump is doing. What's working over there? Let's take Donald Trump's ideas and say it's ours. That's literally what they do.
Dire warnings about the impact of climate change, saying rising sea levels will lead to, quote, more oceanfront property. And he promised the largest deportation in history, attacking Vice President Kamala Harris on the administration's handling of the border, calling migrants non-productive people. Trump casting Harris as liberal and attacking Jewish people who support her, repeating claims that,
well, yeah, aren't they non-productive because they can't work? They're literally leeches of society. The taxpayers are literally being bled dry by people who are not actual taxpayers, who are not working, which isn't really their fault, but they did come here illegally on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration. Am I missing something here? Did they say, hey, come across the border, you know what I'm saying, and seek asylum? I'm pretty sure they did, because 15,000 people a day is ringing the alarms up and noggin up here. You know what I mean? This stuff is something that's continuing to happen. I don't think it's going to slow down. It's going to keep going until someone like Donald Trump gets in there and he throws the wrecking ball at the border, at the people who have been running the border horribly, which has been, you know, the Biden-Harris administration, which is now going to be the Harris administration. I'm sure Joe's sleeping somewhere with this whatever dementia plague. He had 2 brain surgeries, but somewhere in the basement hiding, you know. He's always having this little, you know, failed interactions with the public. You know, I don't blame him. The guy's old. He's been there, done that. He spent his whole life in politics, but it's time to step back and let someone else who knows how to run the country run the country. Someone who's not a career chameleon politician, someone like Donald J. Trump.
that have been widely called anti-Semitic.
And I say, if you're a Jewish person or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that, you know, is very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden. And Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined.
Also at one point saying the new Time magazine cover of Harris looks like his wife.
I saw a picture of her on Time magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing. And actually, she looked very much like our great First Lady, Melania. Didn't look,
Yeah.
she didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
And in a sign of just how much the former president has struggled to pivot to a new rival, Trump also spent time attacking President Biden, even though he's no longer in the race.
Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably.
The Democratic National Convention is now less than a week.
He whooped Biden. He beat him like a dead horse. Joe had nothing for Trump. Trump was coming at him, he's getting them, and Joe ain't got nothing. It don't matter how many hours he spent rehearsing his lines, still couldn't do it. The man's too old. He's got cognitive decline. You know what I'm saying? Time to hang it up, Joe. Let someone else do it. That's not Kamala Harris, because she's even worse. I don't disagree with Trump. Kamala's even worse than Joe. She is for sure pro radical, whatever you put on her desk. She's just, let me sign that. Let me sign that one too. And yeah, let's put tampons in the bathroom, Tim. Yeah. So we gotta go to an article real quick because CNN put something out here titled "Fact Check: Trump made at least 20 false claims in his conversation with Elon Musk." Now let's see what the fact check we got here. Former President Donald Trump delivered his usual bombardment of false claims, at least 20 in all, during a Monday conversation with billionaire supporter Elon Musk, which aired on Musk's social media platform X. Okay. I mean, yeah, he said some stuff there. They got it. It got something going there. Most of the falsehoods uttered by the Republican presidential nominee were claims that have been repeatedly debunked before, some of them for years. They spammed a broad range of subjects from immigration to the economy to foreign policy of Trump's record in office to Vice President Kamala Harris, his Democratic opponent. Here is the fact check. Okay, let's see this. A crime. Trump claims our crime rate is going through the roof. Yeah, I think that's probably true out there. Crime has been steadily climbing, especially with all the people not getting put in jail for stealing in all these liberal states. We've seen it over and over. All these riots happening, and no one ever really gets put in jail, or they're released. And in some cases, by the the Biden administration, they put out a while back, hey, here's this, whatever. If you need to get out of jail, hit us up. Facts first. Trump's claim is false. Both violent crime and property crime dropped significantly in 2023 and the first quarter of 2024. Even if it did drop, the more violent crimes probably did happen. I'm not going to sit here and say that what Trump said is false, because I for sure believe the crime has been steadily climbing. If you don't believe it, then that's on you. You know what I'm saying? It's different under different presidents. Obviously, when Donald Trump was in there, crime wasn't as bad. We didn't have these crazy riots going all over the place with BLM and then pretending like, oh, we're not going to do nothing. Literally, stuff was happening. There was, movement coming from the top. And he was telling them straight up, hey, this ain't cool. We need to put these people in jail. They commit crimes. Criminals go to jail. That's what happens to criminals who commit crimes. They're supposed to go to jail, right? There are limitations to the FBI published data from local law enforcement. The numbers are preliminary. Not all communities submitted data, and the submitted data usually has some errors. Some of these statistics may not be precisely capturing the size of recent declines in crime, but other data sources make it clear that crime indeed has declined in some extent. Okay, let's move off that. It goes to inflation. Trump said, I think we have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They said it's 48 years. I don't believe it. Has anyone been to the pump lately? Because I have, and that stuff is not cheap right now. Groceries are so damn expensive right now. It used to be able to get 20 things for under $100, and now it's damn near $200. Clearly, something is not right here. You know what I'm saying? Something's not right, and CNN's sitting there about to tell us that, oh, well, inflation ain't that bad at all. Let's see. Facts first. Trump framed this as an opinion, but it's baseless nonetheless. Wrong in two different ways. Okay, first, when the inflation rate hit its Biden-era peak of 9.1% in June 2022, that 9.1% rate was the highest rate since 1981. Between 40 and 41 years priorly, certainly not 100 years. 40 years, that's still a long time. That's something right there. Second, inflation has declined sharply since the June 2022 peak And most recent available rate at this time he spoke for July 24 was 3.2%. At that rate, the bond presently assigned was exceeded as recently as 2011. I'm not seeing where they're trying to say that inflation is down because it just seems like it's going up. Honestly, I just don't believe them. I don't believe them. I'm sorry. I don't care if they put, 1% inflation rate. Nothing changes in my wallet. If anything, I'm losing more money. Our money's being devalued more, especially when they're sending billions of dollars to foreign wars and we don't really get a say in that. I want to know where my money goes. I want to audit on the government. I want something done about the border. But they would rather focus on, this percentage is really actually lower than what, 40 years and bull, man. Come on, dude. Global warming and sea levels. Trump argued that the threat of nuclear war is far more important than the threat posed by climate change. And he said the biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean is going to rise to 1/8 of an inch over the next 400 years. You'll have more oceanfront property rights. First facts, or facts first. Trump's claim about the pace of the sea level rise is widely inaccurate. The global average sea level is currently rising more per year than Trump claimed that will rise in 400 years. Global change is happening all the time. We see it with the seasons. I'm not no scientist, so I ain't going to sit and pretend to tell you that that's not actually happening. You know what I'm saying? But, Trump's going to say what he's going to say because that's just what he does. That's just how he rolls, baby. Moving on, someone says on Twitter, the entire media is running a misinformation campaign against Elon Musk. As X continues to grow, these attacks on Elon and his companies will become more frequent because the media sees X as a direct competitor. You got to have this misinformation come out from the left. Otherwise, they got to credit, Donald and Elon for all these great topics they're bringing up about everything. They covered pretty much everything in their whole conversation, but they want to focus on the fact checks. No, inflation is down. You're wrong about climate change. Crime is way down. They couldn't even get the interview started, a 40-minute delay. Oh my gosh, they're a bunch of smucks. They're a bunch of stooges. Someone else writes, Trump and Musk pass 1 billion views. God bless. Between 7:47 p.m. and 10:47 p.m., President Donald Trump's space post received 73 million views. During the same period, there were 4 million posts about Elon Musk and President Trump's conversation on X, generating a total of 998 million views. Wow. That's insane. That blows everything out the water. Every interview there's been since the past decade, if not more. It's no wonder why they want to discredit Elon and Trump, because they freaking blew them out the water in terms of views and people commented them about this. Someone else from CNN's Dana Bash blatantly lied about Trump and Musk conversation last night. She falsely claimed that Musk and Trump said that it was okay to drop nuclear weapons on Japan in World War II. Audio from their talk last night showed that is not what at all they were talking about. They were talking about using nuclear power to generate electricity. How even there's been accidents. It's eventually safe to move back to those areas, and evidenced by how Hiroshima and Nagasaki are both thriving cities now. Also, historians and military officials have said that far more people would have died in the U.S. If they did not drop the atomic bombs on Japan, because the U.S. would have had to invade Japan and more American soldiers and Japanese would have died as a result. Yeah, you going to invade a country, or you just drop a bomb and they call it quits. What do you want? More people to die on both sides, or do you want a bomb to go off and no one dies except for, unfortunately, the civilians and some soldiers? But there would have been far more people dying if they would have invaded this continent. More than likely. It's just how it works. You got all these guys running through. We got to take over the country. Oh, there's a resistance. And then a lot of people are going to go out. That's just how war works.
I want to play one exchange that was kind of classic. Well, there were a lot of exchanges that were classic Donald Trump, but this one really stuck out to us.
And Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
Right,
it's
right,
really
right.
not
That's
something that,
That's right.
so it's not as scary as people think, basically.
So that was more Elon Musk than Donald Trump talking about sort of suggesting that what happened almost 80 years ago, I think 80 years ago next year, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, now it's okay. Kind of trying to blow off the impact of that.
Okay, we see you there, seeing it. Let's see what they had to say right here. Let's hear it from the Donald Trump and Elon Musk's conversation.
Fantastic. But to me, the biggest problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's, a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great. And when I talk about I'll prevent World War III, I will. But the truth is that you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. And if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining operation, and there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that,
maybe they'll have to change the name. The name is it's a rough name. There are some areas like when you see what happened in
bad branding.
Right, we'll have to rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you or something. No, it has a branding problem. When you see what happened,
it does have a branding problem.
When you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they there's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're right about it. It's amazing.
It's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened in Japan, people were asking me in California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant. And
but you haven't been feeling so well lately, and I'm worried about it.
No, but I mean,
I'm only kidding.
It's fine, It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So it's really not something that
That's right.
So it's not as scary as people think, basically. But let's see. I mean, are there some other topics we should touch on?
I don't know where CNN got this, they're okay with the bombing in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I didn't hear nothing about them promoting the bombing like they made it out to be. But again, it's just propaganda, misinformation coming from the left. That's their main goal, is they want to discredit these two's conversation by however means necessary, where it comes to, delay, the 40-minute delay from the whoever is sending these attacks to them, to the numbers of this interview. 1 billion. That's a lot of people. Just right here, it says 1.2 million other listeners from that record we just now saw. There's a lot of people talking about this, and there's nothing the left lamestream media can do or say to discredit these two, because the numbers are right there in their faces. It's literally right there. You can go to X right now and see exactly what was going on, what people are saying. You don't need to take your news from the left. You can go to other places, which is what they really don't want. This is what the left and the big government do not want. They don't want you to be able to go to the town square that is X. They don't want that. So what they're going to do is slowly fade away into the oblivion if they don't freaking grow and build a better network that doesn't have these bias-based, far leftist loonies controlling it. Maybe they would have a better, networking and journalists and more people actually listening to them if they did this, but they just don't do this. They want to stick to their ways and slowly suffer from it. They're only being kept alive by their deep pockets from all these people like George Soros, etc. All these people with deep pockets that want to keep their, puppets alive. Right? I'm Buzz Brown, conservative. Peace.